Then nice. And we are live. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. This is your Manly P Hall Pass. And we are going to be talking about masks and the ritual use of masks. And by we, I mean me and Core, a cult fan. I mean, a cult priestess. Sorry, cult priestess. I didn't mean to call
That's
you.
hilarious. I haven't been confused with that guy for at least a year.
Yeah, oops. I haven't talked to him in a while, so you know how those things go. Anyway, I'm gonna turn off that effect. Anyway, I wanted to talk about masks. There's some Manly P Hall work on masks that I thought we'd talk about. Seems kind of relevant these days. Let's see. Oops. Pause. Okay. I'm gonna have to do a screen share real quick. Do the share screen. Start the broadcast. So this is some Manly P Hall.
A number of years ago, I was in a little town, Darjeeling, on the northern boundary of India, where it met Tibet. And there were several visitors from various countries, and the hotel management decided it would be appropriate to give a little entertainment in the Tibetan spirit. So they brought in about a half a dozen Tibetan dancers with their masks and regalia to entertain. And among them was a little boy about 8 years old, a very cute, chubby little rascal, and everyone liked him immediately. But when the time for the dance came, he put on one of the most grotesque masks you'd ever want to see. He really looked like a nightmare. And of course, everyone knew it was a little boy. But during the dance, he started and moved over very rapidly toward the audience, as though he was getting ready to attack. And you should have seen the audience scatter. They all knew it was a little boy, but with the mask, something happened. And a real spirit of ancient and primary fear moved in on those people. They actually, subconsciously were terrified. On another occasion, I remember in the Japanese no drama, where the principal actors are masked. Many of the themes are highly sacred. And in the various performances, the actors are nearly always concealed behind these wood-carved masks that are well painted and decorated, but of course have no expression except that of the original carving. But under a careful handling of lights, particularly by the postures of the head in relationship to the source of light, these faces seem to change. And in moments of joy, the face really seems to smile. And in sorrow, the face looks very tragic. And yet it was done with a wooden mask, but everyone felt it. The skill in which the mask was handled was the principal factor. In the southwest of the United States, we have a series of ritualistic dances by the various Indian tribes. the Zunis, Hopis, Navajo. These dances often include masked figures, and everyone knows that these masked figures are members of the local community. One of the men with the mask, very carefully developed but rather crude mask concealment, actually has two children in the audience. They all know that it's father. But when he dances toward them with a sacred column, they kneel instinctively as though he was a god. Something happens when the masks begin to take a part in religious ritual. Masks were used in Egypt, we know, in the temple mysteries. And even today, the various carvings and manuscripts of Egyptian origin show human beings with the masks of birds and animals. The Greeks used masks in their theater also. Nearly always a mask becomes a complete change of personality. If accompanied by adequate religious ritual, the mask becomes the secret of the development of a peculiar theological belief that there was a divine power in the mask. And when it was worn correctly and under ritual supervision, it brought a deity into contact with humanity. Well, in the course of time, the mask cults have gradually faded, but in many primitive countries, they still survive. Then came another step forward in the study of human psychology. It is almost impossible for the average person to understand a completely abstract principle. It is very hard to visualize something that has no form, or to visualize an energy which is completely unembodied. From very early times, it became apparently necessary to present nearly all of the important truths of life symbolically.
With more activity outside our homes, we would now advise people to wear a cloth face covering in enclosed spaces where social distancing is not always possible, and you're more likely to come in contact with people you don't normally meet. The reason is face coverings can help to protect each other and reduce the spread of the disease, particularly if you have coronavirus-like symptoms. But this does not mean, I must stress this does not mean wearing medical face masks, 2R or FFP3, which must be reserved for people who need them.
This from the Encyclopedia of Wicca and Witchcraft. Masks have been used since ancient times by witches, shamans, and magicians. The use of masks dates back to prehistoric times and is found in all cultures. Wearing a mask can induce altered states of consciousness. When the wearer mimics the nature expressed by the mask, this is a form of what is known as atavistic resurgence, a connecting with the primal natures residing within ancestral memories. Atavistic resurgence can also refer to a connection with the ancient primal group mind, the collective consciousness, or unconscious. In Wicca, or witchcraft, animal masks are often employed to serve as an alignment to a specific animal consciousness. The occult principle behind this states that to become something is to become the thing itself. By the wearing of a wolf mask, the witch attempts to draw closer to the primal energy of the wolf. The wearer of the mask will also move and behave like the animal depicted in the mask. From an occult perspective, like attracts like. This technique can also be employed to link one with one's familiar spirit. In ancient Rome, death masks were made in honor of the departed. Egyptians also made masks for the dead, primarily in the case of a pharaoh. The ancient Greeks employed masks for theater, and masks also served to depict various spirits and deities in the mystery cults of Greece. Masks are also employed in sex magic to enhance excitement, and to create a link to altered states of consciousness. See Akashic Records, Animals in Witchcraft, etc. So, hopefully this isn't going to play. I'll go back here. Stop sharing.
What I'm going to talk about tonight
Oops.
is the dark and very, very, very dark history.
Sorry about that, Santos. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for bringing us all to the theater with our Manly P. Hall pass tonight.
Oh, absolutely. I've been diving into a little bit of Manly P. Hall lately. I was lucky enough to get a copy of The Ways of the Lonely Ones, and I started reading that last Saturday on a couple episodes on my channel here, and I'm probably going to read the rest of it very soon.
Excellent.
I've never read it before, and it's really good so far. Very
Well,
moving.
I'm a fan of Manly P. Hall myself.
Oh yeah, he's got great work, the man.
Ha, no pun intended.
Yes.
So masks. Let's get on the roll with masks.
Absolutely.
Actually, I took notes, believe it or not.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So
what
I'll
do you
let you start rolling the ball.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought it was a topical discussion these days because, you know, masks are everywhere right now, and it kind of begs the question, if masks are used to bring a spirit or a consciousness or, you know, a god to you, and sort of becoming one with that god brings it, you know, through like magic, then what is happening when we wear these blank masks?
If
What
we were
happened?
to imagine the god of the medical mask in public among regular people, what I've seen most is the plague doctor mask as far as symbology. Nowadays, with what's going on, that symbology has made its way all the way back to us in the now. So the plague doctor mask is our form, I believe, of psychic protest against the surgical mask. And so what kind of spirit would embody the surgical mask spirit, right?
Yeah. I almost feel like it's a nothing, you know. It's like a void.
Well, I'm
Or,
actually seeing this famous painting of a man with a bowler hat, and it's a cloud background. He has a red tie and a jacket. And in front of his face, instead of his face, it's a big green apple,
oh, I love that one.
right? So that is another example of what's going on here. If we're going to get symbolic about it, which I believe we should. But something that Manly pointed out that I think most people gloss over and don't understand because they don't understand it is the mask was a representation of something that had no form. It was unembodied, and therefore he said unexplainable, and only explainable through symbolic language. Hey, that's it. Who did it? Do we know the name of it?
It's called The Son of Man by
Oh my goodness, Adam's apple. Now that's the Son of Man, not the Son of God. You understand the difference?
Son of Man by Rene Magritte.
Sounds French.
Yeah, it does. So tell me the difference. Oops. The son of
So the Son of Man versus the Son of God. This is the son of your corporation, your media, the son of who was probably abused when he was a child and told to not cry and to tie it all in with a red tie, keep it all down. And he does not know himself in the Hermetic sense. He has that apple right before his face, which is the apple of knowledge, but it's blinding him with science instead of enlightening him with love.
Wow. Do you think he's eating the apple, or has he become the apple?
It's obscuring him, which is a cult, right? So it's occulting his true self, which means we can attribute that apple of an apple with worms in it. And we can go back to Pink Floyd, when the worms ate into his brain, is when he was finally compromised by the system and the darkness. This is a man who has sold his soul.
Yeah, definitely.
But he had the chance for the apple of immortality, or the apple of knowledge, but instead he became this thing.
Well, he's got a nice suit and an expensive hat for sure.
And so in the materialistic world, will he die happy?
He'll be happy at the moment he dies, perhaps, unless he realizes that he doesn't have a fireproof box to put his cash into.
Normally, the confessions of the dying of rich people are, I focused on all the wrong things.
Yeah, I guess so. Except for Steve Jobs, who said something like, "It's all so beautiful," or "It's all so wonderful," were his last words, something like that.
Cosmic.
Yeah. Also, I think maybe he got uploaded into a computer somewhere, so his neurons and brain algorithms are living on somewhere in down in the basement underneath of the Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California.
Punching
He's
out
behind
clones.
Yeah, he's behind all these updates until they clone him.
And so the other point that he made was that the mask was used in ritual as something we put on ourselves to embody the God. And the mask itself can be passed down from generation to generation, infinitum, like for hundreds of years. And that can cause a great power to come within the wood of the mask, or, as long as it's not plastic, as long as it has something to hold the energy into it. And the same thing can be done embodying a God in so many different ways. The mask is really a tool if you need it, but not something that, it's more of a tradition. You understand? It's not that I need to go into ritual and put a mask on, because I can do it without a mask. There's no problem, So it could be a fetish for some people, like, I have my blankie, no, I need my mask, but traditionally, it's usually the tribal rituals that are more about the show, in front of the campfire, the big show, to get into the subconscious, to speak to the subconscious through myth and through lively artistic action, to bring the myth into your circle, And when you didn't have movies and you didn't have all this media, and all you had was the tribesmen doing these sacred rituals, then this was the big intense moment for you in your life every time there was a ritual. And masks actually meant something to these people. There was a sacredness about it. And so I could say, flip it upside down here in our global society that is now wearing masks. And it's used as animal husbandry. It's used as a way to confine, define, and to bifurcate us from each other. It's actually, instead of the apple lesson of what that man should have learned, the apple lesson of knowledge of self, he learned Persephone's story of the pomegranate of separation. If you look at a pomegranate, all the seeds are separated from one another. And there is a mystery there where we get past the pomegranate into the wholeness of apple, but that's a big occult mystery. But I'm just saying masks themselves do not normally hold the power unless it's a darker power and it's been like cast upon it and that kind of thing. And we all saw that in The Mask, the film with Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, like a possessed mask.
Yeah, like he was a trickster. He became like a way to go or a coyote, but definitely a trickster.
Loki. He was pretty
Definitely.
Loki.
Oh, that's right. It was Loki.
Yeah. I haven't seen that in a long time. I was never a big Jim Carrey fan, so I don't think I've seen it since it first came out on video or whatever.
I
But-
really adored that film because I understood about masks in a Jungian sense already. And also people who are social climbers, which that guy character in The Mask was a social climber, they're willing to do just about anything to get ahead. And that also means selling their soul.
Oh yeah. Many people wear masks with before even a physical mask is on their skin, they're wearing masks.
Yeah, the psychological expert John Bradshaw, who coined the phrase inner child, he actually said that we develop an ego mask. Well, I call it an ego mask, but he calls it a personality mask around age 7. And that's our first Saturn return in astrology. And it's our first chance to know who we are. But around age 7 is when I discovered lying. And that's when I first started experimenting with not telling the truth and finding out more about who other people were. And I, as a psychic child, thought everyone else was psychic. So I didn't know about lying until I probably saw it on TV or something. And then I figured out my mom didn't know everything in my head. It was crazy.
That is an insane revelation when you realize that the world is not what you think it is, and that in our child's minds how everything radiates out from yourself, like I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, and it feels like the world is unfolding for you,
In that childish, magical way.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. It's like I used to have this like I used to imagine that like the only reality that existed was whatever I could see from wherever I was at, and like it just went black when I like walked through and it was behind me, and then like it just kind of like paused, and like maybe other people had their own experience where they were in a separate reality that was simulated. Everything else was simulated, and we aren't really touching other people, but like we're touching
Robert Anton Wilson would call that a reality tunnel.
Wow, a reality tunnel. That's a great word.
Yeah, and how people who have subconsciouses that are bifurcated and still have work to do have this type of subconscious where you think you're the only one, dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
You have great moments of clarity where you feel the earth. I know that. You feel the collective.
No, I haven't felt like that since like the first grade or something.
Yeah.
When I was sick and I looked out the window and the school bus still stops at the stop, even though I'm not out there to get on it. And then it goes on down the road. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I actually saw a TV show about this with Kirk Cameron, whatever show that was, where he didn't go to school one day. And it's basically the same thing. His father, the psychologist, was like, guess what? The world doesn't revolve around you. And he totally got depressed. And I remember watching that and thinking, what the fuck's wrong with that kid?
What's wrong with that kid? Yeah.
How can he not see with his eyes closed? I see beyond these damn walls. I know there's people out there.
Yeah, in a world without lying, a world psychic, there couldn't be lying, because what's the point? It's like wearing your thoughts on your chest.
Yeah, I do believe sometime in the future we will be all that kind of psychic. And that's going to be the fun part, because you can't hide anything. So those most practiced at telling the truth are going to have the better experience.
Yeah, for sure. Another thought experiment. I used to like just kind of deeply think about crazy stuff sometimes. And like another thing I like to think about, but I mean, I was older, like college age. Like, what if everybody had a hat? Like, what if we had a hat that we could put on and it was like a ticker tape hat? And whenever you thought a thought, it would just like like print out like a ticker tape of like what you're thinking right now, and it like just goes onto the ground and it like unfolds as you walk around, and like it just piles up everywhere on the ground, like as anybody walking thinking. And then like when you go to a certain spot, you can pick it up and like look at it and read what someone was thinking when they were in that spot, sort of like a Akashic record that's made out of paper. And like
Well, that
sort of,
actually exists in the psychic energetic fields of certain, especially places on ley lines and with portals open, but historical places too. And then you can do what's called psychometry, and that's reading the environment psychically. So it's a lot like picking up that ticker tape and saying what was going on here 100 years ago.
ooh, psychometry. What, how do you do that?
Psychometry is the art and study of reading objects through your psychic senses. I actually have to do it with my hands. So I got a book probably by Scott Cunningham or Ted Andrews when I was a teenager, and it was like how to do psychometry. And so I read a bunch of different books like how to see the aura, and I did all my little experiments. Well, I was really good at psychometry immediately. I saw my friend, I held her ring, and I saw her in Ireland. And less than 6 months later, she was in Ireland, which was totally out. We were not that old and worldly. So it was really weird that she went to Ireland. So
And you saw
that's
that
what
in the ring.
psychometry is. Yeah, I saw a lot more, and I usually do. And I enjoy doing it. But I like going to, like, now that I'm out here in California, I can go to places and feel the vibes and know when I have to get out. So it's practical as well.
Would it work if I sent you a photograph of a thing of mine? Like if I sent you a photograph of this mug, or like, does it work symbolically? Like if I could like draw a map of my house, and you could look at the map and see my living room and see the chair that I drew in the map, or does it have to be the real thing, you know?
In my experience, I prefer the real thing. I do a lot of different psychic stuff, but psychometry is about touch.
Psychometry would
Yes,
be,
psychometry, to measure, I think.
I think, yeah. And I always think of like, well, I guess digits, but like your metrics, your I don't know. That's not really the right
That sound
word.
like the word is based on a numerical system, some system of measurement or science.
Yeah, psychometry. Like psychometry.
That's how it's pronounced, psychometry, but it's spelled psychometry.
Psychometry. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, so Llewellyn has really good books. Llewellyn, 1-800 The Moon. Really good books for beginners if you're trying to bud your third eye. And gosh, you have to experiment. You can't just read a dumb book. You've got to do it. So you got to get out there. You got to be in the field.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I found this website a long time ago. It was like psychictests.com or something. And they had all these like pretty cool little games to practice your psychic ability. Like they have Zener cards, you know, and there'd be like, you know what, 4 or 5 cards face down, and it's on a computer. And then the computer flips over one, and you know it's like the wavy lines. And then you look at each one of the 5 cards, and you have to pick which one is the wavy lines, you know, that's turned over. And I did it for hours and hours and hours, and the way that I did it was like, I didn't even try to guess at all at first. Like, I mean, I played with it for a minute, but I was like, I'm going to try to get the feeling of what the cards are. So like, I would look at the card that they had, you know, it'd be a star, and I would look at each of the options and see if any of them felt different, and if any of them felt like they were the one that was calling to me or whatever. And then I would just turn that one over or turn a different one over, and then they would all flip over, and you can see I could tell with not winning them at first, like the one that I should have picked that one, like, and you have that like sort of feeling like, oh, like I'm gonna pick this one because there hasn't been a card on this side in a long time, but I feel like I should pick the exact same card again that they had 3 times, come up. And I got pretty good at the feeling. I mean, it wasn't like the little tests were like 20, they do it 25 times. And then if you got like, I don't know, 8 or more or something, then you had somewhat psychic abilities. And it kind of burns you out after a while. But like sometimes I'd be like right on. I guess I'm like all in a row, one after the other. And then, I get excited, and then I'd lose my concentration and mess it all up,
Welcome to Vegas, baby.
pretty
Population U.
I've done pretty well playing blackjack actually after that. Like I hit on like 17 and 18 sometimes, because I knew there was going to be a 3 or a 4 or whatever. And I always did pretty well until I had one too many drinks, and then it just all that there's like a sweet spot, I think, like anything. Like I used to play pool at the bar, and like I would totally suck at pool until I had like 2.5 beers, and then I was like knocking every single one down. I was like visualizing it, and it was all great. And then like one more beer after that, and it just sucked again.
I do know. I understand.
Snake Jones in the chat, he said Queen of Hearts. I had we had on RX Only Picture Show, we did an episode called How to Get Your Psychic Brain Horns. And Tracy was reading in this book on psychic, exercising your psychic ability, and then she had cards, and she's like, all right, I'm going to give you a psychic test. And she holds up a card, and I looked, and it was 7 of hearts. I said 7 of hearts. And she's like, she turns around, and it was.
That's sweet. I love it when that happens.
Yeah.
It's also especially delightful to the inner child.
To say that again.
It's especially delightful to the inner child. It's like, ooh, magic's real, and I'm a wizard.
Oh yeah. Definitely. And like you can use it. You can use it every day. It helps. It doesn't have, you don't have to be at the gambling table to use it. Like those little psychic whispers will help with even the smallest things. I think of it like a mom sense or something, like, because a lot of times it's like, your mom gives you a candy bar, or you're like, I want this candy bar, and she's like, well, I don't want to give it to you because you're going to get it all over the seat, in the back seat. And you're like, no, I'm not. And then you take a couple bites of the candy bar and then set it down, and then you forget that it's there, and it squishes into the seat. She's like, I knew you were going to get it in the seat. Like, how did you know?
There's several layers of that mom voice, as you put it. So there's the Jiminy Cricket in our head, that's our conscious, right? It tries to keep us, some of us, on the right track. Some people just killed that little cricket completely. But then there's the other layers, right? I forgot where I was because Jiminy Cricket died, and that was really sad.
It does. It's sad that Jiminy Cricket died.
And then there's the layers of projection too. What are we projecting out to this world because we had a hard childhood or whatever. But also the layer of the mother voice could be your higher self. That some people call it the higher self. Some people call it the holy guardian angel. But it's
Right.
the perfected you, the part of your soul that lives in heaven and understands a lot more than your egoic earth self does. So the guide, right? And then it could also be ancestors and dead people, because you had a wind in your face one day, you told me, of an
Wow.
ancestor, that
Yeah.
because you were making decisions about the family.
Yeah, I was making bad decisions at that point, and I had this it was enough, like a gust that like stopped me for a second. And you don't always listen, you know. Well,
I do.
I
You
mean,
don't.
people don't always listen. I try to nowadays, now that it takes some time to actually realize what that voice is for some people, or that.
Oh, it sure does. It's a cultivation. It's like a garden, dude. You know that.
Yes, yes.
For some people, it does happen in a thunderbolt, a lightning bolt, the road of Damascus hits them in the face. But for most of us, it's a journey.
Like that, the still voice in the night, or screaming, somebody screaming in your head. Like I've never had the screaming thing. But I had this old pickup. Well, I still have it. I just need to get it running again. Carburetor's gunked up, and it's a 1955 Ford truck. It's like an F100. It's the same truck that Snake Jones was looking at, one in his in the field or something by his house. Just a beautiful old round body old truck. And I was using it as my daily driver for a long time. And it's like big, and it's really loud. It's got like a hot rod motor. It's like blah, 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 and like you have to turn the wheel like this much, like almost before it like actually turns, because everything's so like loose and big on it. And it had like all these switches on the front, that on the dashboard, that weren't connected to anything. And
It sounds like a big rig.
it's pretty big. Yeah. It's like a 3/4 ton, or it's probably a ton, just because it's like the smallest full-size pickup that they made in 1955 for Ford, so I used to flip these switches, and my daughter would be like right next to me in her car seat. I'd pick her up at the babysitter after work, and I'd be like, all right, are you ready to fly? And she'd be like, yeah, let's fly. And so I'd like flip this switch on the dashboard and go, whoa, and like step on the gas, and it like the truck kind of pulls you back in the seat for a second, and we'd be like, yeah. It was so much fun.
Now that's Operation Warp Speed.
It was Operation Warp Speed. And so I was like on the highway, and I hit this gas, and like I was going like probably 75 or almost 80 miles an hour. And this thing like really, you're like really kind of like all over the place. Like it's like work just maintaining a straight line, because it's just such an old fun truck. And I had this little whisper in my voice that said, what happens if your brakes go out? And I was like,
Dude.
oh shit, what happens if your brakes go out? So I like slow down. And then instead of like taking the highway home like I was gonna, I got right off the highway, and I was just gonna go through town, because it wasn't that fast. Town speeds are a lot better. And the voice said, what if your brakes go out? Like that. And I was like kind of scared, and I was like, okay. And then I got off the road, and I didn't think about it after that. And I was driving, and then like all of a sudden it was like we stopped at a light, and then the light turned green, and I get back going like, and as soon as like I got like my foot down, because like it's an automatic transmission, so it kind of boom, and then it shifts up to the next gear, so it shifts up into second gear, boom, and then I see the truck in front of me was totally stopped, and I was like, and I tried to hit my brake, and it goes like squish like all the way to the floor, and I was like, and like I try to pull but there's no emergency brake like right there. Like it's like an old one with like, it's like you have to like pull a lever and then pull it back, and it's on the left side. I'm like, and I pull it, but it was too late. I smashed into the back of the truck pickup in front of me, but I was only going like maybe 15 or something. It was enough to like, oof, like a, and the guy, he like roosters up and jumps out of his truck and he comes running up to me. He's like, gonna fight. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And then he sees my little 2-year-old daughter in the seat. He's like, oh, I was like, my brakes went out. I'm sorry, man. Like, I don't know why somebody would like beat somebody up for crashing into them, because like, you know, nobody does it on purpose. You know, it's an accident no matter what. Like, but I guess the fight or flight thing is pretty real. So
Yeah, definitely fight or flight. And also, you jarred him out of his coma. He wasn't very happy to be jarred out of his coma.
oh, that's right. That's a good point. He's like, oh, shoot. Now I'm, yeah. And luckily, it didn't do any damage to his truck because he had a trailer hitch, and I had like a 1/4-inch thick steel bumper. It didn't do anything to my truck.
No, you would have ran over his car.
Yeah. But yeah, it was that voice, and I was like I was kind of shook from the little accident thing, but I was shook to the bone that this voice, and I feel like it was something outside of me, because it said, what if your brakes go out? Not what if my brakes go out. It said,
No, I agree. That's how I heard Hermes. You know, what if is the most important thing. If you hear a what if in your head, that's important.
yes.
Because that's
Yeah.
not you asking, buddy. That is an disembodied voice. And
Yeah.
I think it's like a form of sonar, like a radar, is the telepathy between us and the other world. But you got to have your third eye buzzing, like your radio on. Your third eye has to be open for reception.
Yeah. I always wonder what is that? What is that voice? Is it an attending spirit, or is it a jinn, or is it a guardian angel, or is it you know, yourself in a different time?
No, it's definitely not yourself in a different time, flat out. But the other things, it's all depending on what the situation was. And also through meditation, we can go back into those situations and draw I don't want to call it an entity, people hate that word, but draw the entity out and say, hey man, whose voice was that? I want to thank you. And like bring some astral flowers, bring some astral wine, and thank them for saving you, for helping you. And that's how we get to know our spirit guides and our ancestors and anybody else. You know, we have to do it through a meditation.
Oh, that's a great idea. So like build a banquet table in the thought realm and invite those guys to dinner, or
Definitely. Guess who's coming to dinner?
yeah, that would be cool. The radio is on, what Snake Jones says in the chat.
Right.
Yeah, the radio is definitely on, and I really think that more and more people are feeling it or listening.
Definitely. The vibrations are changing. But you know, we've got to go through the darkness to get to the light. But we're in the underworld already. We've been in the underworld our whole lives. People like you and me, Jim, right? We've never been in the sunshine much. We've been downtrodden our whole lives and victims of the man in that sense. So we're used to this kind of being in the military, basically, and roughing it, right? And as we clean our armor together.
We're crawling around in the mud, vibrationally speaking, I would say.
Yeah. But now a lot of some of the muggles and some of the sheep are waking up. That's going to raise the vibe. And people, just smart people who critically think, who aren't necessarily spiritual, they're just smart, can see what's going on, and that then they come over to the light side, Luke.
Yeah, it's because I'm wearing my Jedi hood, so I can relate. Come over to the light side, Luke.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
I think maybe Luke is on the light side because that's his name, right?
Exactly. I was making that point on Weaving Spiders Welcome, that looks, Lux, is light, and Darth Vader is dark Vader, invader, the dark invader, which is
Oh.
who probably would wear the mask. The mask that we were trying to look for, who does this mask embody, is more than likely Darth Vader. That bitch couldn't breathe either.
Yeah, that's true. Wow.
So it's light and dark, just like we were raised on in the movies. But we
Yeah.
call it spiritual warfare, and we take it really serious, especially when it comes into our bedroom and we have to do astral crap about it. You know, we have to fight the darkness at its level of the fourth dimension. Then things get real, and they will. For everybody's got their radio on, things are going to get more real.
Yes.
So it's time to kick the ass of your personal demons, because the other ones are coming.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's kind of going on out there. It's kind of going on. I don't think
The purge.
there's no room for personal demons when like when we're going to be marching against an enemy that's I think it's the vibration. I think it's like the consciousness of everything. It's
Mother
like,
Earth too, she's graduating with us. So we're symbiosis with Mother Earth. And as she raises in vibrations, we have Earth bodies, therefore we raise. And I don't mean ascension like fucking Jesus raising in the clouds. I mean, vibrationally speaking, we raise our vibe.
yeah, because heaven doesn't lower its vibration for us to get into it. We have to raise our vibration up so that they like attracts like.
And we follow the Earth, our mother. She's going to be doing it, right? We're here doing it with her, helping birth this new situation. But know that it's in sympathy with her. We can't do it without her. It really, she doesn't need us, but we're seeds of her, and therefore we will also evolve with her.
Yeah, and we have to acknowledge that and embrace it, that we are her, that we are Mother Nature too, so that we can ascend. Because what we're fighting against is people that don't want change, people that are, change is scary.
They actually want de-evolution.
Oh yeah. De-evolution, because that's what they would need, is to go back, I don't know, but I like
that's why we talk about eugenics, me and my conspiracy friends. So it's the dark versus the light. It's the New World Order versus, light workers, whatever. I don't have any really good titles for us, except for we are those in the mystery schools.
Yes, we are those in the mystery schools.
I'm an ancient druid, dudes, and I think a lot of you guys are too.
It's hard to say where it comes from. I mean, I guess you have to look inside to find out.
More meditation. And that brings me back to what I wanted to say about meditation. If you do go to the Buddhists, they're going to tell you to blank out your mind, shut everything out. And please don't just follow that direction, because then you'll be sitting there for hours doing nothing. The thing is you want to get into your heart light. Think about love, not romance, but love as much as you can. Sunrises, sunset, beautiful things. Raise your vibration. Then go into the visual realm, your imagination, and there set your table for your friends.
That's great advice. That's good advice. So
and also protect yourself. Whoops. Always put that white light around you, or cobalt blue is the color I use, to protect yourself before you set that table. Okay, guys, because I'm not used to speaking with ultimate beginners, but I might be, so I had to throw that in there.
So just for me, who's an absolute beginner at everything in the whole world, how would I do this? Do you you'd open it up, or you'd have to say a prayer at the beginning? How do you protect
you in particular, and someone on your level, get actual salt, like for real salt, sea salt, whatever. And you want to make a circle of that, just enough to fit your body in so you can sit down comfortably within a salted circle. And then meditate on the heart chakra, coming into a pink and white light for you personally. And you want that light to go all the way out 6 feet, right? Your aura. And then ask your guides and God and your angels, whoever, all of them to protect you while you reach out above the 4th dimension into heaven.
Is pink like your solar plex? Or-
Pink is a higher color of love in the heart. So it's not the passionate romantic love. It's going to put you more in a cloudy pastel space.
Okay.
Which
I
is
see.
like a womb room. And don't we all need a womb room these days?
A womb room. Yeah. I should paint my womb room colors. I bet the sleep would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Well, actually, psychologically, you want your blues for your evening sleep. I had a
Blues?
pink room once, and I found that it agitated people. Maybe it was the wrong color pink. It was kind of Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah, Pepto-Bismol might be agitative.
But if you look up the psychological experiments and the institutes and everything, they're always painting the walls different colors to get different moods.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like I remember hearing something like all you can eat restaurants would use like blue plates or something so that because a certain color of plate makes you hungry and another color of plate makes you feel like you're full.
Yeah, these are all triggers of the subconscious. So if you still have a subconscious, not everybody does, then you're still going to fall for that crap. It's like falling for a trick. But you can be aware of it logically and try to, curtail your behavior and still have a subconscious.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why you need to protect yourself when you're going into circle/meditation like that, is because your subconscious can definitely come up, especially if you have active wounds from your childhood, teenage years. You might meet some nasty characters instead of your spirit guides. So this is why we clear out the subconscious, the crucible of magic, before we really try to reach out to heaven. But these days, you can do whatever you want. There's no more rules. Whatever you want, just go for it, kids.
So what happens at the end? Do we need to close it up? Is there a danger of leaving it on ended, or like?
So to close it up is to
Say
thank
you.
everyone. You have to, yeah, exactly. You thank everyone, and then you bring that circle color back into the heart chakra, and then you can disperse. And I just do this by kind of flipping my heart a little bit, just by brushing it off. You can disperse the rest of the good stuff out to the world, and then you're kind of dusting yourself off. You're done. And I do suggest Palo Santo or some other kind of sacred herb while you're doing this to burn.
Palo Santo.
Or maybe it's Santo Palo. I say it backwards.
Oh no, I'm just curious. I'm not sure. Is it like an incense?
It's a wood straight from the tree, and you just burn it, and it smells so much better than sage. And I actually think it works better than sage.
Oh, cool. For like cleansing the house too?
Everything. I mean, I think it kicks butt. Sage is great if you don't have like major problems.
Say that again. Sage, what?
Sage is great for like your average housewife and the average problems. But if you're a shaman and you're dealing with heavy things, then you want the Santo Palo or Palo Santo.
Cool. Good to know. I'll have to check that out. I don't know. Where do you get it?
I'll send you a link. But
Awesome.
you could even get it. I don't want to mention it, but you can even get it on Amazon. It's just available. eBay. eBay.
Well,
I mean, you can't say a good retailer these days.
Yeah, that's. I buy stuff from Amazon. It doesn't mean that it's not going to be. that it's not going to be spiritually important.
No, I
It's
had to get some from Amazon, and then it's fine.
yeah,
It's your brand. It's all about the brand, and I'll send you a link.
cool. That sounds good. I'll check
Yeah.
that out.
We all need to be going up and finding out what's up there instead of trying to figure out stupid things like who we're going to vote for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And to share these you know, to share that higher elevated vibration. That's what I would really like to do, is get
Yeah.
there, but then also like resonate so that other people can get there too. You know, I don't want to be a I don't want to
Yeah,
be alone.
yeah, the light shines around me like a million suns, calling me on and on across the universe. This is what the new media can be. We can be that heartbeat of the children of the sun and raise the vibe together. But everybody in this group, in this troop, is going to have to be a warrior first, like Archangel Michael with his head on a demon, slaying all the dragons, the personal self.
Oh, well said. Very well said.
We are only as strong as our weakest link.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And I've been a creature of community, and I found that community so far is very sick. There's a lot of problems from childhood, and also problems just with self-expression or self-love, self-esteem. And if you get a group of those train wrecks together, it's never going to work out, you see?
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be healed.
Yeah, that's true.
But my secret is that's what we're here for anyway. So I could push it through the media because that's how we have to do it on blast, you know, through a trumpet. But my goal is just for everyone to reach enlightenment anyway.
I'm down. I want everybody to reach enlightenment too.
Rock on.
Well, cool. So also one last question I think about it. So when you set the table and you talk to your ancestors or your guardian angel or the spirit that attends you, is that where you can ask for an upgrade with your perception?
Oh, most definitely. That's a good place to make requests. And I would suggest, especially in the beginning, you write your requests down physically with your hand in a real pen. And you take that with you into circle. And then when you're done with it, when you're done with circle, then you burn it so that it goes to heaven.
Does it have to be burned, or could I like throw it in the river?
No, burn it. You're a beginner. We work with fire, and because it's quick. So you can think about your salamanders and sending that all the way up to heaven.
So do you have to forget about it?
Like, well, it's not exactly a spell, which is what you would forget about. Like, okay, I'm not going to think about it because that will put colors on it, and I don't want to put any color on it. I'm done with it, right? You don't want to change the spell while you're thinking about it. But this is different. And in fact, I think thinking about it's probably really positive and something I learned, a very deep lesson, but I'll give it to you, that God is my DJ. And you can listen for the lyrics and say, hey, God, guardian angel, whoever you want, send me some music, send me some songs. I need some messages, you know? And then that's a way to keep it in your mind. And when you're doing your shuffle, different music maybe you haven't even heard before will come around and start tapping you on the shoulder and say, hey, kid, this is the message you need.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works, isn't it? Before you know it, you get sucked right on into something that you didn't realize that you actually wanted to be there, and that it's really awesome once you got there.
Yeah, you got to get on the ride. Also for you in particular, Jim, pay attention to the animals around you because they're all giving you messages. And even looking up the shamanic meaning of a specific animal is going to give you straight up messages.
Oh yeah, I get so many messages. One of my like sort of divining tricks is people's names. I mean, and it's like if there's somebody in the news, or if there's, if I read a story about a specific person and it sounds kind of weird or fishy, I'll
Like
look up,
Nick Sandman. I know
yeah,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, I'll look up their name and the meanings of it. And
Me too.
oh man, it's like always like crazy how right on it is. It's like how it's like how sometimes you get those tarot readings and they're just like whoa, how did you know? It's like most of
Some
the time.
people actually think that you're at home thinking about them and devising a reading, like pulling out the cards in particular just to get their goat. I mean, people are crazy.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. With my previous wife, when she got pregnant, but she wasn't. She just had this feeling like she was pregnant. She was like, "Oh no, I'm pregnant." And then so uh she got we got her cards out. She had some tarot cards and she shuffled them all and did a 3-card reading. And I don't remember the cards, but pretty much it's said she was going to have a baby. It was like just straight up right there, like we were like, ah.
Do you know what deck you were using?
She shuffled them all again and totally shuffled them all again for like a long time, shuffled them all random, and asked the same question and got the exact same 3 cards the second time. And he was like, boom, the top of our head exploded. It was and then we ended up going to this a psychic festival, psychic fair on
Yep.
the coast. And like she just kind of dabbled in her tarot cards and stuff, but we went to the psychic fair and then she got her palm read and didn't say a word to the lady. She was like, oh hey, read my palm, and I don't want to say anything to give to whatever. And the lady's like, you're pregnant and you're gonna have a girl. And she said all this stuff, and it was all just like right on. Like, wow. Now that'll change somebody's life,
Oh yeah, definitely.
to be on the receiving end of those things.
I
And
have
it's changed my
enjoyed
life.
blowing the minds of people for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do a card reading one of these times.
Yep, I'm up for it.
Cool. That would be good.
Do you have a deck too? And which one?
I have a deck. I have the Rider-Waite deck.
Great.
I've got the big cards, Rider-Waite, with brilliant colors. So it's like
The vibrant Rider-Waite.
yeah, I've got the vibrant one.
Yeah, I like that too, with the blue background with the gold stars, I think.
I've always kind of been drawn to the Thoth deck. Like always wanted to get the Thoth deck, but then like when I bought the cards, I was in a real anti-Crowley period where I was like, oh, he's bad, and so everything possible is bad that was Crowley. But like I don't think that now, but like I feel like I should get a Thoth deck.
Well,
Just
if
because-
it makes you feel better, that Thoth deck is actually Lady Frida Harris's deck. I never call it Crowley's deck.
Oh really?
She was the artist. She's the one that went through the torture of Crowley, yelling at her, pointing fingers at her, making her feel like shit until she was done with that deck. He gave her hell, and that's why I call it her deck.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Is she the artist with the beautiful monobrow?
I'm not sure. We might have to bring up a picture, but it's Lady Frida Harris, which means she was someone.
She's from like South America or something.
Honestly, I do not know.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Maybe I'll need to get
Do a little something on her. I can't even remember where I read that story at, but it was funny.
That's a pretty good story. I can just imagine him sitting up cross-legged on a table somewhere, with his shirt off, barking orders.
Yeah, torturing the poor
Laughing.
thing, the poor dear.
That's funny.
So I feel for anybody who was around Crowley, because I studied Dion Fortune and she wasn't shy to tell you what she felt about Crowley. And I think Dion Fortune was a great lady for her time. She was an actual psychologist and an actual occultist and a priestess of Isis. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that'll do it. Oh. So what was her name? Dion who are you talking about?
Fortune,
Dion
Dion Fortune. What's your parrot's name?
Oh, this guy. This is. Oops. This is Scratch Jones. His name- Scratch Jones, the new guy, but he's not new anymore.
Well, he's beautiful.
Yeah, he's a pretty sweet little kitty cat. He's very soft, and always likes to be right in the middle of any broadcasting that's going on. Like cats have a sense for that. Right?
They
Animals,
sure
I guess,
do.
they're always, all my animals love to come get right onto my feet or my lap, depending on if they're dogs or goats or cats or whatever.
I was watching Vanessa Beeley, who does a lot of serious work on Syria, and her cat was totally flipping out behind her. It was like, you're listening to this very serious topic. People are dying, and there's this cat going crazy behind her.
They are sort of weirdos, cats.
They also know when you're tripping, like if you're on acid or shrooms or something.
Oh yeah, I bet. Well, they've got one foot in the door.
I do believe that.
Spirit world.
That's right. Well, Jim, did you ever have to wear a mask? Were you mandatory?
It is mandatory here. I don't like to wear a mask. I did a few times when I absolutely had to, like going into like a hospital or whatever, a doctor's office. I think I wore a mask because I went to the dentist, but I have like a visor,
Yeah. A sneeze guard.
Yeah, like I had this I have like a really big straw hat, like it's a huge sombrero almost, and I I clipped my visor onto that thing, so it's basically like it's it's far
It
enough
sounds
away
less
from me.
encumbering than a mask.
It's far enough away from me as to where it doesn't get into, I kind of tip it back a little bit if I have to, so that I can see out from under it. But yeah, I can't wear a mask. I don't hear as well when I wear a mask, and I feel like it just, like, it takes the emotion out of the person, because if nobody can see you're smiling, I mean, you can tell when somebody's smiling with their eyes, but a lot of people don't do those emotion things when they're wearing a mask, because for some reason they think that subconsciously, like, you can't see that emotion on their face. So like a lot of dead eyes.
Isn't that important? Think about that for 1 minute, that we have to focus on the eyes and we have to see who's dead and who's alive. Now that's a very interesting point.
Yeah, I think it's probably easy to tell. It's the computers looking at us, and we're reflecting back that dead, empty eyes.
The man
don't
with
know.
the apple in front of his face.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know what that is? It's this. I've got an apple in front of my face.
Isn't that interesting? Very
Yeah.
good indeed.
That's insane.
That was very hermetic, very mercurial of you.
Oh, thanks. The apple supposedly it's because it's not an original sin reference on the Apple computer. Supposedly it's a reference to computer programmer named,
Macintosh?
no, he came up with, he was a code breaker and computer guy in World War II. I'll have to look up his name. He wrote, or I think he came up with like ENIAC or some, he was a computer programmer. I'll have to look it up and put it in the comments, or the doodly doo down at the bottom after
The show notes.
Yes, the show notes. But he killed himself. He killed himself, and the way that he killed himself, supposedly he killed himself. No, he wasn't murdered. He ate a poisoned apple. And he had the apple by his bed, supposedly, and he poisoned this apple with arsenic and then ate it and killed himself. And that's how Steve Jobs named his business, supposedly after this guy.
Now you got Alex Jones saying this is a death cult. This is a death cult.
Yeah. Well, it is, I guess. The apple.
You know, that reminds me of the Hunger Games. I think it's the end of the first one where Katniss and the dude had survived, and the guy who was running the game was in trouble. And they put him in a room with the berries that the kids had eaten, right, to kill themselves. Only those berries were the poisoned ones, right? And then he died. So there's another, I would say maybe that man didn't poison that apple.
Oh yeah, he was most definitely killed, or he well, is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah,
he's-
I would assume, because there we
Oh.
have it in fiction happening again. And that's what I found. The New World Order loves celebrating things they've done that are very, very wrong within our fiction.
Wow, yeah, that's true. Because it's also it's a way to admit involvement and not liability yourself, because it's a fiction. And they can brag about it too. And also, I think that, oh yeah, it's like almost like a symbolic magical ritual also that gives power to it and continues the power of it. Like the royal family, Meghan Sparkles. She's always wearing very similar, almost exactly the same outfits that Princess Di was wearing, and not just the one, the Rosemary's Baby dress. But,
right, the Stepford Wives, they are.
yeah, there's like bunches of. I mean, I've seen like 3 or 4 outfits that with side by side pictures of her and Diana wearing the same outfit, and it's like they're charging her with, I think it's almost like they were charging her with all the love the people had for Diana.
That makes sense. A transference.
Yeah, so that something, because they needed her to be that loved, for something that they're going to use her for later. I hope
Because
they
it's
don't.
possible that her child, given Rosemary's Baby, is Satan, right?
Yeah, it's maybe the inference. I mean, they infer that with have you seen the pictures of Prince William as he was a child? And it's the Easter pictures, and he's always like he's holding a goat, or no, it's a lamb. It's a lamb, but he's like holding the hoof like kind of up, emphasizing the hoof. And it's sort of like it just makes it's almost a Baphometic reference or something, or the hoofed, the cloven foot. They have the same cloven feet as goats. It's sort of
Yeah,
Those weird
Hades
things.
had, they say Hades had cloven feet, and that's where they got the devil from.
Really? I know that I've heard that also, like in Solomon, in the book Solomon's Demons. King Solomon,
He was the first to raise demons and curse his total bloodline. All the Abrahamics got cursed after that. So if you're born in an
Yeah.
Abrahamic bloodline, you got to cleanse yourself or you're going to get attacked.
and he had a he got
The
tricked.
lesser key of Solomon and the greater key of Solomon are the actual works.
He got tricked by a demon. It was this demon that he captured by he made a chain with sacred words on it, and it was made out of gold, but it was a small chain, but it was too heavy and unbreakable for a demon. And so he captured this demon, and the demon on his walk, or the guy that he had captured the demon, his hero. And then the hero was marching the demon back, and the demon did these like weird things, like one of I'm not remembering them. I'd have to look it up, but he helped out a blind man, and he showed there's like a priest, and he showed the priest that there was money hidden in his buried in his temple, because the priest needed money. And then he did several things. It's a great story. But King Solomon's like, how did you know the future? How did you know this stuff? And he's like, well, I'll tell you, but first you have to give me your ring, because King Solomon had this ring that was his signet, and take this chain off of me for a second. So King Solomon gives him this ring, and he puts
One
So-
ring to rule them all.
yes, and he takes the signet off, and as soon as it gets over the top of his head, instantly, bam, Solomon was kicked, like he's flying through the air, like miles and miles outside of his temple, and he goes crashing onto the ground. And then he's out in the middle of the wilderness, and he has to hike back, and he doesn't have his signet ring, and he's all like disheveled, and everybody thinks he's just a crazy man, a madman, because he's like, I'm the king, and they're like, no, you're not the king, Puh. And he finally gets back, and he's like trying to tell his men that he's the king, and they're like, no, the key's in there,
Oh man.
because the demon took his face, took his ring, and he was taking his place. And
Ooh, that's a wicked form of psychometry I've never tried.
yeah. So the way that he proved it was he had one of his wives look at his feet, because the demon could take his shape, but he couldn't change his feet. His feet were always like crow feet, bird feet, or hoofs or something. And that's how he got his rule back.
Well, that's very interesting. I think
God,
the
it's-
feet are ruled by Pisces, which is the most evolved sign of the zodiac. So you couldn't trick the feet.
Most evolved, is that what you said?
Most evolved, yes. Sign of the zodiac is Pisces. So they're supposed to be the smartest, generally speaking. And then we
Huh.
start over again with Aries, the child, the eternal child.
Oh, it's like baby New Year.
Yeah, exactly.
So would Pisces be like an old man too? Old man in the sea?
Well, I always see Poseidon when I think of Pisces, but there's a Irish god of the sea, Welsh god of the sea named Dylan, and that's who I named my child after.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yeah. He's got that kind of blood, so
See?
happy to celebrate it.
Yeah, that's very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm kind of getting a little chilly out here.
Yeah, this was fun. It was fun, like meeting up.
it is fun. Well, let's do it again soon. I'm
Oh,
gonna be doing some more Manly P Hall passes in the next future period of time where I'll read stuff and can have more discussions. That
I
would be
always
cool.
dig Manly because I know where he's coming from. I know what he's saying. And it feels like I'm taking part in a debate, even when I'm just listening to him. So
Yeah, and
I,
he's
I
so
love,
poetic.
yeah. And how he brings up the different levels where, you can understand him on very many different levels. It's not just the one surface level. And so that's why I think this kind of work is important to read out loud because most of the stuff that we have for sale today isn't worth reading.
That's true. You mean especially like new occult literature?
Especially like it's all Crowley, pretty much just rehashed, like refried Crowley. I don't like to eat refried Crowley or fresh Crowley specifically. But I mean, it's just a bunch of minions that got book deals because they like Crowley, and it's really sad. I don't think the occult is in any state that it used to be in. It
Yeah.
used to be respectable.
It used to be respectable, and that Crow guy got involved. Crowley
Right.
guy.
That's right. And Dion Fortune gave him what for, but she's not popular like him. She doesn't have, the fanboys that he does, but also she doesn't tell people to masturbate to get what they want. So I
Yeah.
guess that sells.
And Crowley was such a showman, also. Like,
Just like Anton LaVey, they were cut from a very similar cloth.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's magic and magicians and wizards. It's all there's there's a lot of illusion in it.
To
A lot of
me,
illusion.
all those guys are stage magicians, hypnotists. They're out to manipulate you. And even today, with the new age and UFO disclosure, I can't believe people can understand that there's a huge New World Order conspiracy going on, but they don't look for that conspiracy in what they're reading in their own circles. What does it look like in your circle? In my circle, it looks like David Wocock.
Yeah, modern day charlatans, perhaps.
Carpetbaggers, snake
Carpetbagger.
oil salesmen. But really, do you remember tent revivals back in the day? The big tent revivals where you could go get healed or play with a snake?
Oh no, like revival stuff.
Yeah, tent revivals of
Tent
the
revivals,
Christian
yeah.
variety,
Yeah.
right? And then they would handle snakes, they would heal cripples, all kinds of miracles would happen right there in your town as the gypsies came through. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
That's what this shit is. It's exactly the same thing. And even the Russell Brand did 12 steps here in LA for almost 2 years, these lectures, and they were the same thing. They were just tent revivals. He wasn't really helping people. He was just putting his face, like he took the 12 steps and used it as a way to get more famous. And I think that's really backwards.
Wow, he did that, huh? Is it like I remember there was a movie that he was in called Get Him to the Greek.
Now, that
where-
was my favorite movie because I think that showed who he was and a little bit of who it could have been. But he was very vulnerable in that film. Like you could see all his shit.
because
But it
he
was
was playing
fun
himself.
too. It was a fun
Yeah.
film.
Yeah, I was like, I think he's playing himself.
He definitely was. Actually, the guy that wrote the script said that he totally wrote it for Russell. And maybe if Russell Brand had become a rock star instead of some talking head, we'd still like him possibly. But
Well,
he did. He started a revolution. He started the 12 steps. He's always trying to he says he wants to be a cult leader. I have him on tape saying that.
Oh
But
yeah.
you don't need him on tape. I mean, he says it a lot if you're paying attention.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I get. His YouTube channel pops up in suggested quite a bit, and I've never really listened to him, but whenever I do, I'm like, ugh, Russell. Brand. But he's like actually, he's very charming. He's a very good talker. He's
You ain't
very-
kidding, buddy. He'll charm the pants right off of you.
it just goes around and you know, like even if you don't like him, you can't stop listening to him because it's frustrating. You
That's
know,
what we call a honey trap.
that's a honey trap, huh?
Yeah. He's a bit of a badger, though. If you look up what a badger is, that's more, he's a badger werewolf hybrid.
What's a badger?
They are insane little things that almost look like skunks that eat snakes and all kinds of wild things.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I have
like
a
animals.
blog where I actually put Russell Brand right next to a video of the badger and how you can compare the two's behavior.
Oh yeah, like honey badger.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
And at the end of the blog, I transfer him into the honey bear, which is the elusive humming bear. That's what it was, humming bear. Pisto Changeo humming bear.
Presto changeo honey bear.
But as my kid says, always punch up. So I'm always punching up.
Yeah. Boop, boop. One up, Mario. You know, you hit punch up and the mushroom comes out. And then you eat it and it makes you big. That
And
makes
then
feel
you, like
fire.
Alice, you have to read a bunch of signs.
Oh yeah, there's always the signs. I guess that's part of it too. Part of finding your way is losing your way so that you can actually look for signs.
You have to lose your mind and go crazy in order to get sane. There's just no way through it without that. You got to be willing to lose it.
I agree. Like you can't have a healthy ego until you've had the biggest ego in the world and then had that ego dashed and crushed on the rocks. And
Yeah, I
then,
call it the Ziggy Stardust ego death. Right? The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust is the story of the ego. It thinks it's an alien. It's really good at guitar,
yeah.
right? It's sexy, it's beautiful, and it's alluring, right? It's glamorous. So yeah, we can definitely look at the whole film, Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust, and put our ego in that film and listen to the lyrics and see if we can bust down some walls, like, and then listen to Pink Floyd. I think all boys need to watch The Wall to
Oh,
really
man.
get in touch with their inner real deep crap about their dads and stuff and about society, because I'm not a boy, I'm not male, but I can feel that on every level, even as a woman. So it's just very well expressed.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time. Man, when remember when he shaves his head and his eyebrows and all of his hair on his face? That's like crazy. Like
That's akin to wearing a mask.
yeah, it is.
He
Isn't it?
becomes the thing, right? He embodies the Darth Vader energy because his daddy hurt him when he was young and his mom was smothering and shaming and all that shit was real. And I think it came out in the film really well, the way they described it all and how his teachers made fun of him. And there was such humiliation and such shame in his life. And we've all, I think, me and my friends, we've all been through that shit. And
Yes.
watching The Wall can help you heal. Because I was watching The Wall in your neck of the woods during the protests, which were really not protests at all, were they? When they're tearing the city apart.
Chop. Yeah.
And I swear, Pink from the film would have been great right there in the middle of the street with his banners of Nazi flags, because
Yeah.
it's anti-fascism is bullshit. If evil says anti, it means fascism.
Yeah.
It just puts the anti in there to trick you kids.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Awareness, where racism awareness is just stereotypes being accentuated, you know,
Yeah, and
Like-
we can go further back to archetypes, original forms. But you know what, dude? The rich people are totally racist. They're eugenicists. They believe in genetics. They don't believe in the spirit or the soul. They only believe in the physical flesh, ones, zeros. You know, like you can quantify your consciousness, you can quantify your emotions, and you can clone yourself. they're coming from a very black and white, scary place.
The witch people, is that what you said?
Oh, I'm talking about like the transhumanists, like the Soros, the New World Order people,
Yes.
Klaus Schwab, the Great Reset people who want to put us in, Elon Musk even. I mean, my God, I was on Twitter a few months ago and I saw a pig with electrodes in its head and it was talking about Elon Musk. And I'm like, oh, how are people even like allowing this to happen? I tear my hair out every day.
Yeah, I think, well, they call a slang for cannibals, they call human meat long pig.
Yeah, because pig is supposed to be the most that tastes like. I actually had that thought because pig is supposed to taste like human flesh more than anything else. And I thought maybe that's why they used a pig, because human to brain interface is what Whitney Webb has been working on recently. She's been understanding that the people who are high up in the field of human to brain interfacing are now high up in the government.
Oh yeah, it's uh,
Yeah, this is their plan. It just because we can see it doesn't mean it has to happen, but we can see it. Thank goodness.
I think that pigs were actually genetically engineered humans that were, I mean, I think they genetically engineered meat out from a human like a long time ago.
Like
That's why
Dr. Moreau's Island type of thing.
yeah, because cannibalism, it was different, for medical reasons and longevity and all kinds of things. I mean,
I think only the rich and savage, extremely savage, which were possessed, rich or extremely savage, either one, possessed, are the ones who need to feed on flesh.
oh, you know what? I saw this. There's a website. Oh, I think I saw it on Pockets of the Future.
Oh my God, I love Pockets of the Future. So
Yeah, me
Paul
too.
Romano, he's awesome.
Yeah, I call him Paul Romano G.
Oh, that's wonderful. Do you do his heartfulness meditation? Have you tried it?
I have, yeah. I did it. He was doing it on Tuesday nights
Yeah.
at one point, and I was doing that. I did it like 3 or 4 times.
We
but
got to
it was-
get him on a show. I want
That would
to
be
meet with
awesome.
him.
I've been I send him a little or comments. I comment quite a bit, and he's never responded, but he always likes them, with his
Yeah.
heart stuff. So
He's my friend on Facebook.
is he?
Yeah.
Nice.
I guess I could
Yeah,
send him a message.
you should. I love the guy. I would love to talk to him.
Yeah, he's a lot like us. This is so neat. And I don't think he has much of a community. I don't know. I know he has fans, but I don't know if he has much of a community.
Yeah, I don't know if he does anything. I've never seen him talk to people on like another show or be interviewed or anything like that. But I would
Well,
love
for
that.
those who are wondering, it's Pockets of the Future, and that's also on Twitter. And it's Paul Romano, Ramona.
All right. Yeah. Also,
Something like a cheese, like Romano.
Apocalypse Now.
Right. He does. Yeah. The apocalypse. Welcome to the apocalypse.
The Apocalypse. But yeah, he had something. There was a website where they're like, do you want to be closer to your heroes? And they're genetically, they're growing, they're lab growing meat that was cloned from cells of your favorite actors and actresses, so that you can buy steaks
Yes.
made out of. Ugh,
Yeah. That's what I thought right away. Cannibalism.
yeah. Oh man, yeah. The normalization of cannibalism is really been going on the last, I'd say, the normalization for the last maybe 4 or 5 years.
And pedophiles too. They're trying to fit that in with LGBTQAnon pedophile.
Yeah.
they're not going to get away with it. I don't believe they understand there's a point in the human spirit where we get possessed by the goodness, we get possessed by God, and we won't take anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the human spirit. You can't kill it. I mean, it's married to the spirit of the earth. At some points, they're exactly one. And you definitely can't kill the earth. This thing is eternal.
Yeah. Unless you're the son of man.
Right. That's the machine work. That's Brazil. That's 1984. That's dystopia.
That is dystopia.
But it
Oh, man.
also reminds us we all incarnated here to learn about the apple of knowledge. And what is the knowledge within the apple? The knowledge within the apple is the knowledge of good and evil. We are here to learn that.
Yeah. I'd say that it's a pretty good place to do that.
Kind of the only place to do it, because who wants to create more than one crappy place?
Yeah.
Samsara, the world of suffering. It just says it all.
Well, yeah, and like wouldn't it, if we didn't experience the duality of good and evil, then we wouldn't be able to, I don't think we would be able to experience a perfection. Like if you had nothing to compare it to, it wouldn't be perfection. It would just be meh.
Yeah, you only reach perfection through the tests of choosing free will, good or evil, to grow towards the sun or atrophy in the darkness. So diamonds get a lot of pressure on them, right? Because coal, charcoal becomes diamonds. A lot of pressure is put on the light worker or the reincarnated soul to grow from lead to gold. Yeah.
You mean the alchemy of us, of our spiritual alchemy.
Yeah,
What?
the alchemy of the psyche, and Psyche, as she's a Greek goddess, but her name also means soul. And I think we're missing the soul component of just about everything these days.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like if you go to Subway sandwiches and they have a Subway sandwich artist and he makes you a sandwich, he doesn't put his love into that sandwich. He doesn't make it with love in his heart for you to eat. He might be an artist, but like I make it myself a sandwich or a sandwich for my kids, and you put that love in there. You don't just slap it together. You have to put that soul into your sandwich.
It's because the most successful in the media, that all the medias, all the arts, the most successful people are already compromised. So they're churning out crap, just like the Subway artist.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's people ascending through favors instead of through
And lies too. And when they get caught in a honey trap, when they've had their picture taken with a little girl, all of these manipulation tactics that our governments use to keep the bigger boys in line.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is the pyramid, the hierarchy. If we could see, the pyramid with the all-seeing eye, that old New World Order type of symbol on your dollar bill. Hello. And I think that's God's joke. Like, dude, it was on your money all the time. God is going to have a lot of those dude moments coming up here in the next few years. Dude, I told you. Dude, I showed you.
Yeah. And that's really what it is. Like, you have to be freaking not just blind, but like you have to hold your eyes squeezed tightly shut and your fingers in your ears in order to not see these hints and signs and
Yeah, that's what we call a willful ignorance. And that's when you're choosing to atrophy towards the darkness. And that's the time you let those kind of people go, just like Jack and Titanic. You let them go under the water. They're God's children. God will take care of it. That's no longer your problem.
Yeah. Don't throw
We don't
your
have time to be messing around with people who are vampirizing our energy.
Yeah, and they are vampires, aren't they?
Yeah, very much so. Like, look at my Governor Newsom of Los Angeles, California. He's definitely a vampire. There's no question. But also, we understand that the royal family of England came from Germany, and they're related to Vlad the Impaler, the original Dracula that Bram Stoker, the occultist, wrote about.
Yes, absolutely.
We've always been fighting these same bastards in different bodies.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? And
Yeah, Druid bro. Yes, it is.
so I wonder if they've been on top through controlling their incarnation.
Yes, they do control their incarnation, very much so in the fourth dimension. They choose who marries who. And that's when I was telling you that ancestors can bully you from the other realm, especially into having children.
Oh, so that they can remanifest.
Yes, they also want you to have a great bank account as much as you possibly can. So they'll make you compromise and sell yourself out to the highest bidder because they want that money when they get in that body. They want that power.
Wow, that's interesting. So can that happen if like if you're like 6 sheets to the or 8 sheets to the wind? I don't know the proper term, but let's say that you're like inebriated out of your mind and conceive a baby. Is that when those something else jumps in there, or is it?
Oh, it's never a momentary thing. It's always something that they work on for a long time. There's an author called Eve Lorgan, and she did books, like one was called The Alien Love Bite. And she speaks about how the dark forces actually get people together because of their bloodlines. So they actually, from the fourth dimension, set up these people to have dreams about each other, to finally meet each other, and to feel like they're already in love the moment they met. And that's called a love bite.
Wow. But it's an arranged marriage for selfish spiritual purposes. So that
from the realm of the dead, yes, so that they can reincarnate their souls into your babies.
Wow. That's some messed up stuff.
But what I found is it's mostly only happening in elite bloodlines. So it could be that if you're 2 or 3 generations removed, you're still in that bloodline, okay? Even if you haven't got money. You know, my family doesn't have much money, but we're related to Senator John Glenn. So we're an astronaut. We're in that bloodline. And before that, Native American stuff. That's why I'm a shaman stuff, you know, just trying to explain it quickly. But we can always look back at who our grandparents were and what they did and what kind of karma our family bloodline has. And always look back to whoever was in the military, because they actually usually they killed people. So there's blood on their hands. So they probably didn't go straight to heaven. They had some shit to work out, right? So these are then alcoholics. These are the ancestors that I don't talk to.
The black sheep, the dead sheep, the black yeah.
Yeah, just like real people who are vampires, I let God take care of them. But there are Buddhists who go into the bardo and feed these hungry ghosts. So somebody's feeding them. It's just not me. I'm not that advanced.
Buddhists feed them? You mean like they care for them, feed them?
Yes, they actually go into the hell realm and feed light to these beings so that maybe they can incarnate one day and clear their karma.
Hold on for 1 second. I got a telephone call real quick.
Well, I want to thank anybody who's out here tonight, out here in the wilderness with us. Sending you all much love. And I'm going to put out a video within the next 24 hours, brand new video. And you should watch it.
Oh, so I'm sorry. Say that again.
I was just talking to the audience while you were away.
Oh, good. You said that you're gonna have a brand new video.
Yeah, it's not even titled yet. It's just now finished in the editor. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
I'm paying homage to my conspiracy friends such as Jason Burmis and Freeman Fly, and just making you all laugh. I hope it's a good laugh for everybody.
Nice. I love a good laugh.
Good.
We all need that.
We sure do. I think comedy can save the world. Comedies and DJs, you know.
Comedies and DJs.
We need art to be life to be art again. We need to myth. If we're going to get into this, we're really going to get into Joseph Campbell, Manly P. Hall, Young, then we really are going to be getting into our own hero's journey together as a community of people who put their faces on TV. That's crazy and it's awesome. And I know Hermes, my spirit guide, is totally down with this. In fact, I know he's been planning it.
I think so. Just as you were saying it, one of my lights flickered.
Oh, that's a great sign.
I get this thing too. It's like I've had it for a long time. Like I don't really know what it is, but like streetlights. The streetlights will either turn on or turn off when I go through. A lot of times, like all the streetlights will be on. You know, it's a night, and I drive down the road, and they'll shut off as soon as I get near them, and then go under them, and then turn back on after I've passed. Like, doesn't matter if I'm walking or riding a bike or driving. And sometimes they will turn on if it's daytime for like a second, like
Yes.
dusk time, you know, like they might be turning on, but I don't know. It happens quite a bit. And like sometimes it'll be like I'll be driving a short distance and all the lights will be on because it'll be nighttime, but like 7 or 8 lights will flash at me, you know, like go off and then on as I'm driving through. And it's not like I have headlights that are pointed up at the street lights to turn it off. It's just, I don't know. I always thought it was kind of cool. I felt like it was me making light somehow. Or
You blamed yourself, really?
I don't know, either that or maybe there was it depends on what I'm researching at the time. Thinking maybe it's a
Exactly.
computer from the future that can time travel electrical waves, and it wants me to know that I gotta walk this way because
Where in Manly P. Hall did you read that? Space Boy.
well, I mean, I thought different things during my whole occult life, but I don't know. Now
Well, I've heard many, a lot of boys actually have the story more than girls. It's which I find is interesting.
of the
But
light.
yeah, usually it's a frequency thing, right? So if you're buzzing really high, it's a good mood, that can do it. But
Yeah.
sometimes it's a warning. Sometimes it's oh, hold up, record scratch. Hold up a minute, what's going on here? Sometimes it's a stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah.
But I never blame myself for phenomenon. I always say, who the hell was that?
Yeah. I agree. I don't think that it can't be, it's not me. It's something. Well, it's everything though. It's everything we're in connection with. And it might not even have to be, I don't know. It's interesting. The manifestation of spirit, but not like a ghost.
Well, in that sense, spirit as the Akash, maybe as the third wheel, as the extra something that you're not putting your finger on, or the Trinity, the ghost, right? All those things.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm trying to tell Bocephus that I believe I went to his Twitter today and I was going to message him, but I couldn't because there was no little mail thing there to message him through.
Oh.
So.
Well, cool. I'm sure you found it.
Not the message thing.
I mean,
it didn't seem to appear
Twitter.
for me. But yeah, I found his Twitter. It just didn't seem to, hey, message him here. I didn't see that part.
He said that he'll follow you.
Sweet. I still don't know how to email him, but you can tell me how.
I don't know if I have your email, Greg, but I've got other ways to contact you. So
So
yeah,
Bocephus is Greg.
Greg Bucephus. Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's his last and first name. I'm sure. But just kidding. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I want to do more of this, and I like you were talking about bringing art back. I want to do that too. I want to do. I keep discussing it, keep bringing it up, but I still would like to do painting, sculpting, and listening sort of thing.
That's
Maybe.
very beatnik of you, man. Snaps
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, that would be cool. So I definitely think that you'd be an asset to have in the whole thing. So
I'm best utilized as a guided meditation kind of lady. Take you guys through journeys. I'm really good at that.
that would be cool.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. I'd like to do a guided meditation too. That'd be cool. We should do all this stuff.
We need to get to work, kids. That's the work, you know.
to work.
There's a lot of talking going on, but not a lot of balls up work.
Yeah, that's true. The talking is the easy part. Anybody can talk.
Yeah,
get-
and they do at great length.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I guess there is you got to make a plan and then add a timeline to it, and then things start happening. So
Just go with the flow, buddy. That's what I do. I follow the flow, the bright light. And we will be called to do what we do. But thanks for getting me out here, because I don't get out often. I'm kind of a hermit.
yeah, me too. I've been hermity. It's nice. But I can't talk to the animals alone, just only all day. I gotta talk to people too. So and it's really, really nice when I have great people to talk to.
I agree completely. It was nice meeting you not 2 weeks ago. I mean, it's really crazy how we all just took 2 ducks to water, like, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, good. We just got in the water and did it.
Yeah, I it's we're like minds in many ways, I think.
Yeah, I'm not as, you guys have a lot of conjecture, like a lot of conjecture. And I'm not really from that world very much. And it's fun. It's fun to be creative and imagine things that aren't real. But I like to see things that are real in the imaginary realm.
Though that's definitely something that a lot of us need more help to find.
I
You
think a lot of us have been in the wilderness of media and thinking, wait a minute, I'm on a different timeline and I'm in space, 7 monkeys and all the shit's going on. It's the confusion of Babel. And we can cut through that shit with the sword of truth.
Yes. Yeah, the confusion of Babel, and we definitely need to cut through it. For sure.
Well, you take care of that family and those kids, those goats.
Thank you. And thanks for coming out here tonight. And definitely we'll be in touch.
Yeah, I totally enjoyed it. I'll see you on Twitter.
All right.
Bye, chat room. Goodbye, everybody. Hugs and kisses.
Kill the